Do you miss DVD commentary tracks? Well, fear not, because I've on Fred, the most scorned critic in all of YouTube. I'm here to give you commentary tracks for the movies streaming, the movies we love, and sometimes those we love to hate. Tonight, I've got one that might be a bit divisive. From 1997, it's The Fifth Element, starring Ian Holm. Yeah, because we're doing two Ian Holm films back to back. Remember, he's kind of sort of in Alien Romulus. Nah, come on now, it stars Bruce Willis. But before we get started, I want to give a quick mention to my buddies over at immieats.com. You can use my promo code FRY to have futuristic street noodles sent to your window and save $5 in the process. Okay, well, it has been a while since we've done one of these, hasn't it? Alien Isolation? No, Alien Romulus. We're going to go ahead and crack open our IBC root beer. Got that beautiful ASMR going right there, don't we? I have popcorn ready. I know some of you, pretty much all of you, don't like hearing the smacking. Just please cope for a minute. I'm old and I've developed this bad habit of having to eat popcorn when I watch movies. Trying to work that out, but I don't have the pink Himalayan salt. I'm actually going to watch The Fifth Element on Fandango at Home, formerly Vudu. I have this on 4K disc. It is streaming somewhere. It bounces around, but this is a little bit quieter than having my Xbox, kick in the overdrive. So, yeah, wherever you are, cue up to 0000 and hit play now. Yes. Not getting that pretentious Sony at the front. Instead, you got the nice Columbia lady. Memories. Now, look, if you want to have a prestigious looking movie, this is the way you want to do it, right, folks? Kind of Blade Runner-esque font here, right? This is a movie that kind of came and went in the theaters. There was some talk about it. You saw pictures of the visuals and it didn't look bad. But for whatever reason, it really was not on my radar in 97. It has a higher audience score than Thermometer over on Rotten Tomatoes. It is built up at, would you call it a cult following when it's a major motion picture and all this? We've got names coming across the screen. I do think that Chris Tucker has a negative effect. He's a net negative on this film, and why I really can't recommend it. Watching the 4K, I'll tell you, it's not as good looking of a movie as you remember it being when you saw this on basic cable. And this was a film that they showed in the top cinema room at Ultimate Electronics Music by Eric Serra there. You'll hear the kind of industrial, clinging, sounds like it's recorded in an abandoned silo just about. But when you go in the 2000s, early mid 2000s, you were looking at the new high definition stuff. What do you want? You want a projector? Let's show you what we got. Boom. Put on The Fifth Element on DVD. And I'm kind of I don't know, that Pioneer Plasma just outside this room kind of looks a little bit better over there. But hey, that's just me. Consequence of playing on DVD, I would say that despite this being a native 4K true scan of the film, think of the original negative and recent, I believe. This is a movie that could have benefited from some restoration. It's clear that I'm not sure if I would say the optical effects necessarily, but definitely the CGI was rendered at a pretty low resolution, or somewhere in the medium went through a lower resolution. It certainly doesn't shine in 4K, but it's also quite grainy. Grainier than you would recall. I think that might be why some people really prefer some Blu-rays. because 4K like amplifies that grain. Not super crazy about the way this movie kicks off here in, was it 1900s Egypt? Or, I'm sure it said, did it say 1919? I wasn't paying too much attention. In fact, I probably should have turned on some subtitles. Luke Perry, small role, kind of his biggest movie. His lack of diligence here and actually kind of saves his butt. Everybody else kind of gets in the way of these aliens that, being told these are the good guys, I have problems with. Does this guy not look evil enough right here? This guy with the beard, right? Kid, you beat it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna poison these guys because they're learning things they're not supposed to know that are going down right this minute. That's the nice thing to do. I work with the nice aliens, but it's important that I poison these guys. Oh, hey, yeah, let's have a toast, right? I did watch this a couple weeks back, so I'm a little loosened up on it. And this wasn't a movie that I visited much. I've seen all the way through, maybe 3 times. But would catch a fair amount of it on the basic cable. The Frenchness of this will shine in some way. I'll have to get into that when we get there. Drink the poison. Breakthrough like this, we can't have just water. Yeah, you got it. Now we're starting at 1900s, pyramids. Stargate was a hit film. Could this have anything to do with it? Been a while since we had an Indiana Jones. You get mild Jonesy vibes here, don't you? Oh yeah, kick in that grain, right? Now you may say that this kind of composite here with the craft, it doesn't look great. Is it worse than what we'd get today? We'd get a super clear image with everything being CGI. They wouldn't have bothered for any kind of wide shot of any kind of pyramid, right? Now, there are some good production values behind this. There is a guy credited as a designer. I was surprised to find this in the credits. Mobius, comic book illustrator, who did the, what would you most be familiar with? Well, he did the Inkle. Could be saying that wrong. I actually picked that up a few years back. Been meaning to get through reading it. Brought it on a cruise. Got sidetracked. I feel like it's got to be related to this in some way. And I am intending to read that, then comb through the movie and kind of make a comparison video between two, because I have actually reviewed this already. And it's not some kind of post-mortem credit like Harlan Ellison, suing everybody with some kind of vision. Hey, that was actually my teleplay that was on Outer Limits. How dare you? But then Humanoids, his co-founded comic book label, kind of sues the movie. It's like, what, was he splitting ideas between the two of them? I don't know. It's kind of a curious matter. Don't mind me. I'm just dropping popcorn. Look at the big, cuddly, surely not actually metal alien guys, right? They have... I wouldn't say they're particularly tactile, right? So what could they do in a fight? They kind of waddle. In the future, where bronze penguins have taken control. Oh, how many times did they have to do that shot? Inserting the key and trying to make it look smooth. Because even in the one they used, it wasn't like fully smooth. Here we go. They just waddle and... Yeah, why don't you just kind of walk behind this guy and we'll say he died. Not that we can lift our arms much for crap. These like giant horseshoe arm shoulders. That little chime right there. Wow. Pretty cool. You could probably get away with just using that as a stinger in a YouTube video. I suppose if you combed through the soundtrack, it would probably be like the Fifth Element's theme, I guess. Or maybe it'd say Leeloo's theme, you know, something like that. Cryptically enough, they won't describe everything, but, you know, poor Luke Perry over here, he just saw the professor get killed. He'll essentially confirm they killed the professor, and it's like, no, don't worry. It's a misunderstanding. I was going to kill him myself. All right, we got to take the weapon, but don't worry. In 300 years, we'll be back. We expect the evil to return in 300 years. Why can't we vanquish the evil? Why? How do we know 300 years? This guy's going to be like, oh no, it's a misunderstanding. Please, just have a sip of this drink. They're our friends. They've killed the professor. They're monsters. Sounds a little more rational to me. If one were doing this movie today, certainly couldn't kill the professor. We'd have to confirm that he was asleep. There'd be a snore. There'd be something, right? And this guy's kind of just cool of being buried here. How do you pronounce this? Mondoshawan Mission. Trying to recall here. That hammering away. It's almost like a stomp on Broadway, right? My order will protect the key. So that's our past. What miraculous future awaits us? "300 years later, choices were made." I think that if you look at some of Mobius's comic illustrations, you'll see a lot of images here that look like they're panels. Weird looking people cast in this, probably to reflect the art style. Weird soup-like colors for the heck of it. You get some impression these guys are navigating, operating ball turret remotes, something like that, but see that low res texture there on the digital explosion? And a strangely dark stark shadows there are in this movie, it still comes across rather goofy, even prior to Chris Tucker. Here's our star, Ian Holm. Please put on your Devo hat. You're in my seat. President Debo. I'll have you know, I watched Friday just the other week. Haven't seen No Holds Barred in a while. We've got one of the replicants is was he a colonel or general or something? Man, those do not look like comfortable space chairs, do they? I've been waiting all this time. We got to find what pure evil is. Maybe this ball that is expanding. That's got to be the pure evil. I'm going to pretend that's not Brock Lesnar in the background. I am under the impression that we started getting an influx of space activity movies, be it a new Alien in Alien Resurrection. The Fifth Element has some space to it. Lost in Space. And I think this is because Star Wars was coming. Everybody knew a new Star Wars. Episode 1 was on the horizon. The original films are in the middle of a pretty successful re-release in cinema in 97. Thus, we got to get on this wave again. Everybody go to space. We shot it and it only got angrier. If only we had some kind of thruster that could reverse and get us out of this situation. That's weird. At a time where we will, of course, build a lot of miniatures for this movie. I think your spaceships are going to be miniature. And this was on the edge of what you thought maybe more of this was CGI than it actually was. There's a surprising amount of miniature architecture work, flying cars. We grant much credit to Demolition Man for predicting the future, but come on, look at this. Guys living in terrible government housing with all these like warning signs. My goal is to quit. On the dispenser for tobacco. Would you describe this as cyberpunk? Not a lot of cyberpunk has really seen a big screen adaptation, but kind of similar to like a V starter apartment in Cyberpunk 2077 to some degree, right? Oh man, you got a Medal of Honor there? course, we gotta like exposition drop some of that backstory. Yeah, I'm a great pilot. And I've done some government stuff, but now I just drive a cab, you know. Here's where we've really predicted the future here. Ruby Rhod. He is ISO speed, Kaisenate. They just didn't quite have the vision that everybody would watch this on their phones. They thought people would be listening on the radio across the galaxy to obnoxious streamers. Got a tweaker here holding somebody up. That's totally something that would happen today. Oh, you got to be pretty expecting this to be this chill about it, right? Pulling a gun and bring that down, collect another gun. All right, you move. Skedaddle. The cab, a bit of that Art Deco look. Almost looks like a 30s cab. But you can see how dingy and half-assed the signage is on it. The worn letters on that touch light button, right? It's not touch screen, but it's a good touch. Good touch, pun intended. It's certainly a worn, beat up cab, right? Everybody's got to have a goofy hat, man. You got Diva over here. This is a French filmmaker. Let's throw some berets on everybody else, right? Yeah, this might have been Luc Besson's first film after The Professional, as it was called in the US on release. You probably know it as Leon the Professional. And that could be why we have Gary Oldman. Yeah, this perfect being. I've been hearing about it all my life. So we have alien creatures in this, but we don't have a lot of them. We'll get the kind of pig-like looking guys. They look pretty cool. The Mondo dudes, they have limitations to their design. Otherwise, everybody else really a human and a blue gal, right? The Diva. This is not the best way this could have looked. Pull up those flimsy guiding systems. Oh man, it's if you didn't know any better, and then those crash zooms of distress. Yeah, those interior shots look like a commercial of the time, a commercial for a Star Fox clone. Yeah, I'm over here crediting Star Wars for some kind of space renaissance, but Independence Day made some bank in 96. There are a number of runway fashion models with small roles in this film. So when you see like a babe that looks weird, that's your answer. So the Mondo ship was crashed and it had the fifth element aboard, whom we haven't really seen yet because that has to be preserved for a reveal. Mondoshawan? Very confusing if this is the first time you've seen it. We have part of an arm here, but this is a particularly advanced being we found. I would need to see that stone monolith casket, sarcophagus again to see if it had this hand on there. Or was Leeloo, was she walking around talking and stuff and got exploded? That remains to be seen. But no, we've got oh man, is this a PG-13? This might be a PG-13 pushing the envelope. I gotta look this up. Yeah, PG-13. Sneaking the boob in. Something that Milla Jovovich does not mind doing. Even where it seems out of character for the franchise of like a Resident Evil. And as the heroine. Not something we're likely to see again. A long-running franchise, the star of the series, getting them out. Completely impossible for that to happen again, right? On a theatrical release basis. So we're going to reconstruct this perfect being we found. The science behind this almost makes death irrelevant, but it is kind of said that this was a special case. You couldn't do this with just anybody. Yeah, explain the process, buddy. I realize those bones materializing that were not the most realistic looking, but yep, here we go. It's out there. Oh, but it's not sexualized. It's a wide shot, and from a low angle, we have skirted the issue. And on the bandages go. In Mila's thermal bandage attire with the bright orange hair, this look, I'm telling you, this really resonates with the Europeans. In college, I went to a Halloween party. Of course, the French girl was dressed like this. This is France's Star Wars. Because what other contribution do they have that hit with people, right? Like, I think Luc Besson, was one of his last movies, more recent, big flop. It was like the most expensive independent film I'm trying to remember. Had that Cara Delevingne, the girl that plays the guitar behind her back of her head. And the bad guy, the kid that turns evil from the Chronicle. There's no "the" in there, is there? speaking in divine language. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just witnessed the birth of a trope as well. I call this kick-ass chick syndrome. She's not a girl boss. She is not bossing around men. But this is the birth of that River Tam-like, there's something unique about this girl and she can kick any guy's butt, but she's skinny and most would describe as attractive, I guess. A rather goofy looking way to knock a guy out, right? No idea what awaits beyond these walls, but let's punch a hole through, right? Forget about that door just ahead and you can whoop these guys, right? But yeah, okay. And here we go. It could have been outer space for all we could tell, right? More of these futuristic but cumbersome uniforms, right? Everybody has a helmet that would impede vision. We're probably looking at our hero shot for the thumbnail, right? I think a lot of these cars going by, it looks pretty good. Much more of this practical effect than you'd expect. And Eric Serra, he did the score for, I think, La Femme Nikita, and then The Professional, but also GoldenEye. And GoldenEye has a very different soundtrack, save for one song where you actually get the James Bond theme and the tank chase brought in by somebody else. Done well after the fact, probably even after test screenings, because they probably said, you know what, when there's a chase, you absolutely have to play the 007 theme, like it or not. This is a well-represented, busy city. Painstaking. I mean, with the rest of the movie looking a fair bit grainy and high contrast, I wouldn't say that the flying cars stand out as, looking like some kind of terrible optical effect. Big leap. But I know better than to not have a face on a thumbnail. Yeah, I'm sure you could not just remaster, but even special edition this, right? Enhance some effects. Did you forget Bruce Willis was in this? He kind of showed up and then departed. Oh yeah, we've been hitting that air brake button a lot, right? That's why it's rubbed off. Yeah, I'm just looking for the one girl. Not a lot of girls, just this one. Hey, here's one in my cab. I don't think people will knock Milla Jovovich's performance in this. She has a tougher time conveying a human in movies. I do think her first credit, she was doing some modeling, but I think in '89 she was in Married with Children and was one of Kelly Bundy's friends. And she's like 14. And when she walks to the front door of Al Bundy's house, you know, the men in the crowd hooting and hollering, whistling. And not a good look today to do that, especially with the, you know, now knowing her age, right? If the space police were only super polite about this, maybe, I don't know, maybe they would have gone along with this. Picking up English pretty quick, huh? Korben is not necessarily a futuristic space name, but it's not one you hear a lot. I can't. I just so happen to be one strike away from having my license suspended. Now, just prior to this, the Luc Besson was, I think he wrote and produced the Taxi franchise. I was really looking forward to seeing the first movie. Stopped and started it so many times on Netflix. It just, I don't know. There's things that bothered me about it. But I know that they made a successful franchise of it with the souped up taxi driving through France, but kind of helping a cop with a suspended license because he's a bad driver. Queen Latifah, Jimmy Fallon would do the American remake of that. But regardless, we have Space Taxi here, right? Do girls look like that work at McDonald's today, guys? They may not have predicted that future for us. The music choice here for this chase is certainly unusual. I would have to imagine it is more like music that would be diegetic to their world more than, you know, what we would hear. Hey, in predicting the future, all this blocking of windows, like small, narrow windows that are hard to see out of in vehicles, that sure came true. This idea that the door has to be bigger, the window exposed glass smaller, it's safer that way. When you actually probably cause more wrecks by not being able to see the cars around you. Oh no, this is a well put together shot right here. Sequence, sorry. I suppose the underside of the taxi is a little more bullet resistant. But our chase comes to an a weird end with like a fade transition instead of like a big boom crash and then cut, to somebody else. Instead, we kind of just fade away from them as they're diving into the cesspool below. And then that's like end of chase, but we'll catch up with them here. In a lot of ways, like we got actual talent in a mocked up front of this vehicle for an exterior shot of it. We don't do that these days. Let's work our product placement in there. We got Coke, right? So, in the very least, she knew what her mission was, what she's supposed to do. That resurrection machine is quite miraculous, right? Dude, aren't you looking for that perfect being? Come on, man. I mean, previously you thought the perfect being was a xenomorph. Oh yeah, I'll be a little bit more violent to the priest. Slap him upside the head. Yeah, I noticed it's a girl. Perfect, you say, huh? Well, we'll see about that. Devo over here, poor guy. He plays a role in the movie. He happens across how to activate the elements and things, and doesn't panic under fire. Sticks around, right? Oh, you didn't know consent. You know what? I was wrong. And I like the way how he's apologizing prior to the audience seeing that it is a gun pointed to his head. And then as it gets pushed back, you realize it's well done. So the last movie I was watching just a couple nights ago was Arrival, with the guy who can't operate a snowplow. How to do this kind of alien thing. Hey, my name's this. This is Ian. Ian walks. I'm Louise. What's your name? And it took a while for them to get there. Leeloo. Sorry, I'm putting on my important ceremonial robes. I have the key. When is his for lack, I'd like to call it a Die Hard shirt. People say domestic abuse shirt, shall we say? But he has a tendency to wear those in Die Hard films, and yet here he is with the futuristic version of that, like Hanes A shirt, right? Something that hasn't really been discussed. I don't feel like. A lot of room to breathe in the back, right? I think at times the movie drags. That Korben and Leeloo got separated here, and then it's like, okay, well, I have to kind of come up with some way to bring them back together rather than Korben immediately get put on some mission to escort her. Got another Coke can. Do you sleep on a bed with plastic covering it? Probably not the best way to go. Uh, Seems intrinsically tied to the kick-ass chick syndrome. The secret genius trope where it's like, oh, she can learn at like a super fast rate. She's also the smartest. And that kind of gets applied in how much butt she can kick of guys bigger than her. Got an important matter here. Pure evil. In uh, enter bad guy, right? Gary Oldman has a very odd look about this. I think it hinders intimidation, but makes up for it with sadist tendencies and the like Texas oilman type of accent is a nice touch. The makeup box, that could be pretty useful. And we're going to get another shot of Mila that we can't have on TV. Even in the blurred out sense, that's not going to fly. So these are the guys that shot down Leeloo's ship. the CGI transition there, we cut away from that quickly because we'll reestablish your practical effect, which looks pretty good. This is a very cumbersome but nonetheless futuristic looking weapon here. A nice piece of kit. Is the soul patch coming back, guys? Let me know in the comments below. Some confidence in that tracer round, right? Hey, it's better than Surge's gun from Beverly Hills Cop 3. Ah, yes. Love seeing some fire in high dynamic range. It's really the best. Fire and lasers. We don't have the stones. Oh, you know that laugh from the critical drinkers overuse of it. She was not traveling with the stones. They're with the diva. Now, I guess the anatomy of the diva allows for the stones to be inserted in some manner. Did that require surgery? And maybe this isn't the first time Korben has seen somebody like her, and that's how he knew where to retrieve them. Let's give Korben some credit, right? Gary Oldman, man. Best villain of the 90s? You've got 3 really good entries for him as a villain here, right? To make the case. Dennis Hopper, honorable mention. Nice little monologue right here. Yeah, you know what? I'll let them keep some guns because they're rigged. I mean, he's not messing around, right? There we go. The makeup box. Now, does that say, did they say that was Revlon or something? But it looks like a D&G logo there. I'm not totally certain, but pretty damn sure we've seen some commercials for Mila Jovovich hawking some kind of makeup line, right? art dealer, right? I mean, he's confiscated things by illegal means. Look, I'm not saying that the women in this movie are the hottest ever, but there is a body type that does not exist. Not in nature, not represented in the films in which we have to consume these days. But there's just like, the average girl is not shown here. We have a straight up right tackle, and then we have supermodels. Why, I think Gary Oldman just explained to us how the economy is going to work when we have a ton of robots doing labor. We need people building them robots and designing them. So many buttons, but not a touch screen, right? All practical puppet effect right there. Unlikely that would be the case today. Maybe you should have let his empire crash. How does one get the last name Zorg? Shorten that from something else? Zorgovich? I don't know. Oh, we've got some CGI there. We have like some little CGI probe satellites, but the miniature ships. I think we're skipping this stage of technology where we're going to strap cameras on roaches and have them run around, right? We'll skip that and just kind of go to nano machine camera setups. All right, do something discreet. We got to get this girl we're chasing to meet up with the diva for the stones. Everybody, we have a convergence of forces after the stones, after Leeloo. Uncle Benny. I think it's is it 98 when we'll see him in Lethal Weapon 4? So the Zorg company owns the taxi, I guess, subsidiary, right? You never see Korben's mom. Not that it matters. Is it practical for the Chinese food truck to come to your door, your window? What do you mean I won something? I didn't win nothing. I got fired. What are you talking about? Fhloston Paradise. First, Fhloston, it doesn't really sound suave, does it? General and Korben got a bit of a history. Disclose that we rigged this contest so that you'd be the winner because we need someone to work this mission. Oh yeah, special forces, best pilot, yeah, all this hotshot stuff. How'd you get knocked down here? You might actually get the best lighting in this movie in Korben's shitty apartment. Trip for two. Don't worry, we've got somebody to go with you. Major Iceborg. We're doing a little bit more of a comedy shtick here. Kind of just weirdly fortunate. Leeloo comes back into his life right now. I guess we could set it up with more of a coincidence if we wanted. Or her waving the hand there. Maybe that would be more of a thumbnail. Okay, scratch it. I guess the father and Leeloo got to take his tickets, right? We know better what the mission is. Now, in our effort to world build here, we got something that we'll kind of revisit in Minority Report. How we have these areas where there's so many police raids, you're expected to know how to behave, and here we've got circles on the wall. To what degree of the Patriot Act are we going to have to reach for this to become the future, guys? The Patriot Act is the NIL of government interference, censorship, Big Brother. Oh, yeah, sure, we're only doing it for the terrorists, but what if you're a terrorist? We got to know. He's petting that critter that was in his desk. You can't really see it. The comedy of errors really stacks, doesn't it? We think we've got Korben. No, we don't. Freezing what's not a bad look for Mila. Well, my lucky day. Both times you've ended up in my arms. What? Isn't that amazing? So I guess that plastic got applied over him after he was in there, right? After he was tucked away, because he didn't get tucked away under plastic. Oh, look, she was able to change her shirt and not get edited out. And as dead as they look, I think they actually survive that. People don't even dress up this much to travel today. I mean, these people are kind of wearing like suits, right? They got the business jacket. The Leeloo Dallas multipass scene. He's in great shape. He'll protect you. Sure, this twig. A future in which we brought back stewardesses, right? Or rather, the concept. Oh, he's big, strong, in shape. He'll protect you. This girl here can work the shaved head. Multi-pass, right? Can the robot bartender tell if you've had enough to drink? I mean, we do need the key, right? Would Leeloo know what to do with the key? Could we leave with her? The level of technology to be able to disguise somebody full appearance like this. Man, I don't know if we could ever quite get there, right? Now, look, not all supermodels are created equal, okay? Is multipass, is that going to be the thumbnail? Now, they mentioned in passing that there was a, sorry for the delay, there's a trash barge incident, whatever. That's why we have a whole trash wall. Ah, yes, the Asian schoolgirls waiting for the African American streamer. And here in the movie takes quite a dive, guys. I'm sorry, but there's just no getting around Chris Tucker in this role. Now, we can say he's acting out some unsavory stereotypes. Even with subtitles on, you're going to have to watch this a few times to understand much of what's happening. I even watch this first time. Are you aware that his cane is the microphone? And he's not good on camera or radio. I guess just there isn't enough competition in streaming in this world, right? In the world of Fifth Element. It's still a radio thing. It's not open to anybody. And I think this is the stewardess he gets a little intimate with. I know it's one of them anyway. Because we have to make the launching of the ship, of the shuttle. We have to make some innuendo out of that, right? As I'm about to say that Ruby Rhod's attire and hair have not transitioned well into pop culture, maybe he's fitting of a RuPaul Drag Race look. So we're there. I'm not going to play Pumbaa on the radio. It's just a little after The Lion King. Oh, you caused a disturbance. You better put your hands in the circle. This is the way we should fly, guys. You just go into a slumber and then wake up on the other side, right? Sedate air. Me fifth element, me supreme being, me protect you. She's kind of right about that. Because we're going to see her kick all that butt, right? One press of a button knocks you out. Effective. So I think maybe this is a different flight attendant that Ruby's with. Nothing says landing gear specialist like Rastafarians, so. Critter, like, I mean, they're not unsimilar to yeah, critters, right? That just came out of the landing gear. It seems she is rather reluctant of his advances, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe, this would be definitely, if remade, there'd be changes, right? Oh, you could almost certainly bet that Mr. Rhod would actually be a drag queen, or yeah, there'd be some LGBTQ plus representation in that character. Yeah, this will never happen again because I'm blowing you up. Now, her shirt's rather open, but I don't think you see anything. Would have to still, get a still from that. Well, what do you think of New York of the future, guys? Improved? See, there's something's not working for me with the space scenes, and a lot of times the space stuff in an older movie that's, it's got like the 4K scan. It should really shine, shouldn't it? And I think I think there may have been some kind of digital intermediate with the digital effects that came in at a lower resolution. Mr. Shadow. Now, I suppose this is a manifestation of the giant planet that's expanding. That ultimate evil has installed fear in Zorg. I mean, he was instructed to get these stones by some means, right? So. And I can't say I understand the motor oil leaking from his head. All right, so Mr. Shadow wants the stones. You ever met Mr. Shadow? Is there a way to hand him the stones? You just throw them at the planet? You see, it's not blood. Is it chocolate syrup? Like motor oil? What's leaking? Everybody wakey wakey. We're on a cruise. But we won't be over the water for very long. I'm going to have to look and see, is there actually a planet called Fhloston, or a solar system they got this name from? I'll tell you, the babe of the movie is the I guess she's the concierge that shows them to their room, and we'll be hearing her in a sec. Surely this place doesn't actually have natives. So, we have like the lay you get for arriving in Hawaii, which I doubt they do that with everybody, right? Like, there's got to be certain occasions. Well, it's not like they've arrived in Polynesia, this alien world. Oh, I'm a stowaway, but I'm a priest, so don't be too upset. Yeah, this gal here, man. The way she says Ruby, right? It's weird, but you notice for all of the girls that are of this like non-actress, find the runway model ilk in this movie have very weird deliveries. I think that's an intentional idea because we can't have people talking in the future like they do with a 1997 dialect. So if we have some non-actors and they seem a little more robotic or a little less believable by our standards, then maybe that makes them futuristic. Many an embarrassing costume to wear in this movie, guys. All right, now, the diva, I forgot her name, but I believe she was in a relationship with Luc Besson. Mila Jovovich bounces around whatever director's working with her. I think she was with him at the time of this movie, and then she's with him later. She was, I think, the final girl in High Tension. Hot Tension. You may have seen it written out that way, but of course we know Mila Jovovich fell for the scribe of the Resident Evil films, like Paul W.S. Anderson. Yep, he did such promising work with Mortal Kombat, only to be handed Resident Evil. Oh, the shame of the president having to listen to this Ruby Rhod show, right? I don't think Joe Biden was checking out Kai Cenat. Chris Tucker hits a level of obnoxiousness in this. Korben, and like protect them, and the cowardice. I realize that there's something they're going for here, but it may not be a good choice from an entertainment perspective. Doing a lot of inappropriate shock stuff, you know? That's what gets shared. That's what gets clicks now. In a world without social media, would this guy's radio stream, like his radio show, intergalactic or intersystem live show, would it get as big without the structure of social media to share it with everybody, to make everybody know that it's the biggest thing? I do like the opera portion, because we do a little bit of a genre fusion thing here, where we have all these weird, obnoxious characters sitting in an opera house, and it looks formal for this world's flavor. And then what we hear sounds like what we'd expect out of that, right? And then she kind of breaks it down and does the hands on the hip dancing stuff. A little bit of a xenomorph head shape about her, huh? And did they put some teeth in her for this? Because a bit of a horse face thing going about it. I would surmise that the folds you see, little wrinkles in her head appliance there, is probably not what they intended. The effects artists usually, they'll, I can't, this horrible fold there, and it's so not skin, they'll make a case of that. Oh, Gary Oldman's getting involved. Zorg running out of henchmen he can trust, right? I think we just had a point blank shot to the face that we cut around for that PG-13, right? Did she have visual of these guys being the culprits? We know the Diva's got the stone. She's got to have the stones in her dressing room, right? Now, it is worth mentioning here. People will say, "Oh, well, Bruce Willis, except for Die Hard movies, I mean, okay, aside from Die Hard, and you get in Pulp Fiction, he is, I believe, he's top billed, above John Travolta for Pulp Fiction." Here, we're breaking it down. We've got this modern Euro dance beat thing going on, right? Die Hard with a Vengeance, biggest movie of 1995. Armageddon, biggest movie of 1998. Now, The Fifth Element, not the biggest movie of 97, but The Sixth Sense, the surprise hit of 1999. Probably in a surprise hit factor of beyond The Matrix. I'm pretty sure it made more money than The Matrix on a lower budget and, vied with Episode 1. Here we go, guys. This is what all kick-ass chick syndrome traces back to here. She's doing a little bit of that. I briefly saw some Bruce Lee stuff. I have some motions down. She's so smart, like she can watch a Bruce Lee movie in times 20 speed and learn all martial arts. And I don't think that there's supposed to be a correlation between what's happening with the Diva in the moment, infusing her with ability to fight. Even it's more of a coincidence that they struck the same pose, but all right, hand the stones over. You know what? You go ahead and take the wicker basket or trunk or whatever. This ability to act superhuman, Leeloo brings it over for Alice. As those Resident Evil movies progress, she gets more otherworldly flexible and can pull off a number of moves, but she actually did train up to execute more of that than I think a lot of stars these days do. The kick off the wall to kick the meaty Doberman in the face. Trained to do that. Oh, errant shot. Diva down. Why wasn't she taking cover sooner? But, you know, I hate to have a performance interrupted. Here we go. Korben. We've already had our fill of Chris Tucker. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. That was the film I was talking about, 2017. Though based on old comics, like, you know, Star Wars being an original IP, I think this makes for a better analogy of The Fifth Element being French Star Wars. Would this mean that Leeloo has met the diva? That they're on a first name basis? I don't know. Oh, looking at an empty box again. I'm telling you, man, Bruce Willis, he's got to have that black guy he has to watch over all the time. You know, indirectly more so, Sergeant Al Powell in Die Hard, who then basically saves him at the end, but he lit the fire that got him, you know, back on the right track. Die Hard 2, Last Boy Scout. In to, you know, one degree or another, but also Pulp Fiction. They're square by the end of the movie. Die Hard with a Vengeance. Ruby Rhod right here too. But not you. Sixth Sense. You don't count. Is this an action movie? We have a chase. We have some fantastic elements. Okay. We have advanced shootout. The action movie still very much a thing going on in 97. Got a kind of Beethoven like future Beethoven there. He's deaf. Hey, more action cred than a lot of things these days. Actual muzzle flash for blanks, actual flame, yeah, done up pyro, things we just can't be bothered with these days. I mean, you put down enough of our guys, we're not going to shoot you anyway. What are we going to do? We're not police. We're not some sanctioned body, right? You know, the shame of it, it's probably Ruby Rhod's biggest episode ever. Yeah, Chris Tucker says, Korben, you take a shot, guys. I'm sorry, but you get your stomach pumped. A few movies have tried this. It may have first came up in Nemesis, 1993. Shooting through the floor to fall through. I think Underworld gets a lot of credit for it, but here we have a variation on that, shooting above to bring somebody down. Mythbusters tried and tried and tried, and it just doesn't work. Oh, what a pleasant scream. Yeah, keep doing that. The whole 9 yards, 16 blocks. It goes on and on with Bruce Willis and the black sidekick buddy. Yeah, how you like to have to save the day dressed like that, like a little sailor boy. That's some good shooting. I mean, he hasn't even lost a hostage. Oh, you mind if I try the negotiation? No, please go. By all means, you go right ahead. What, we got a master orator here in Ruby. Why didn't he do it? Some shots here look pretty good in 4K, and then you cut to the president on the dimly lit spaceship, and it, I don't know. Unfortunately, we're still not done with Chris Tucker. We got the stones, we got the element, but what do we do with them? And why is this clock ticking down? Korben, chameleon, you come and go. Yeah, let's have a nice evacuation of this place finally. Seems a little overdue. I mean, generally the shooting starts and then everybody has to abandon ship, right? Ah, just missed them. But fitting that Zorg's gets his comeuppance through his own explosives, right? I mean, he likes to kind of plant an explosive on somebody and then reversal of fortune. Don't you know Korben's like the best pilot ever? Ah, screw it. I'm going to set off my own bomb. With only 5 seconds left. Yeah, just so happens you stopped at 5. Well, here's 5 more seconds. Resume the countdown, essentially, right? So it isn't his bomb, but it's... We know you like to blow guys up. Save this one for you. Oh, man, the flame rushing around that ship. Ooh. Oh, man. The effects were not quite ready for that. Now, there was he's probably still alive, a Turkish comedian, comedy actor named Cem Yılmaz. And I know this because I had a Turkish roommate. He was really into the Fifth Element. Yeah, we went to the party, French girl dressed like Fifth Element character, and Cem Yılmaz had a movie. Oh, man, I can't remember the name of it. It was such a pastiche of other things out of the West. It had a mega city like Judge Dredd. There was a lightsaber made police baton, like as used in Futurama, and a lot of the plot had to deal with borrowing heavily from the Fifth Element. But it was for comedy. It's hilarious, right? Now it's okay to sample and steal. You know, the only thing you can't steal is books, it seems like, right? You can't play a beat over a book and it's an homage, right? It's an homage in movies, it's sampling in music, but straight up plagiarism if you rip off a book. Not done yet. We still have Big Evil to take care of. And now it's boosting. Presence on the phone says you still got to save the day yet. Last movie I saw Tiny Lister in had a little bit of a redemption arc for him, remember? He actually defeated the Joker in The Dark Knight by being one of the predicted to the big incarcerated guy on the boat. You expect him to push the button, blow up the boat across from him, but no. And in that way, he defeats the Joker. Not Batman. The beauty of stock footage from military showing how bad people are. I don't know if I want to save these folks. Girl, I think you've cycled around to the same photo a few times. Zooming past Saturn. I guess if it takes out the sun, then we're doomed. Is that the idea? All right, we're in the place now. What do we do? Well, I've never really found out. I guess sometimes somebody moved that Mondo guy that I guess got entombed or crushed. Somebody must have got him out of the way. Kind of a novel approach that the key to unlocking them is to connect up the element. Fire. Good thing I haven't given up smoking, right? I don't think you can have a hero smoke cigarettes in a PG-13 movie today. Maybe it's kind of like how the villain would not be allowed to have an iPhone. The villain gets an Android, and the villain can have a cigarette. I think that's the way it would play out. Dad, what? Well, you know what? Maybe Flotsam's a moon. A moon in the solar system. I'll have to look that up. David, right? Diva over here. He gets his activate first. Kind of a hero of the movie. Okay, what did we do? What they're puzzle solving. What does wind do? Wind blows. Earth. We got some dirt to put on it, right? You can kind of see the loss in fidelity there with Ian Holm when he got to his shot, because they were going to composite in his block, the animation for it. It's sort of a side effect of doing things the old way, where you're on film and you got more layers of film, so now you have more grain to contend with. Last hope. Look at the nostril flare on Chris. Showtime, Leeloo. What are you going to do for us? Do you have to sing? Say what you will, in 2-hour time, you get a pretty epic feel to this story, don't you? Seems like the only way to deliver that now requires several seasons of a streaming series. The movies don't have a punch to them. Like, the story has to be simpler in order to justify the smaller runtime for the motion picture. Yeah, I'm saying on the norm. Or a very tested story, people know what to expect. It's Snow White. That'll be a hit. Oh wait, we cast the most repugnant actress available, who has actively taunted anybody that could possibly have interest in watching this. Speaking of, Mila Jovovich actually had a movie bomb earlier this year. I think it had a limited release, some kind of sci-fi thing. I think modest budget, might have not even been a major studio. Yeah, good thing this ball of hate was flying right above us at this moment. I mean, because I don't think that light, took a right angle and then hit it. Dark Planet dead, all rejoiced. Please, Ruby, leave. Well, you know they've had a hard day, so they're going to go to the lab here, get freshened up, yeah. They're not ready, sir. They're doing things. Though I'll tell you, as a parting shot in a movie, leaves an impression. It's with the music. It seems like a cool way to end a movie. I remember when in the 80s there was way too many things just ending on a freeze frame. Just that was the limitation. How do we wrap this up? Crocodile D, what does he do? Freeze frame. I'm not sure who brought the bad freeze frame. There's some bad freeze frames out there. Magic with Anthony Hopkins. Horrific freeze frame. Blurry at the end. This, though, it makes for a almost like music video transition into the credits. You look like you guys are in a tanning bed. You should probably have your eyes shut. Well, that does it for The Fifth Element. What do you guys think about this one? Yeah, you know I'm right? Chris Tucker just kind of cripples the whole movie. He's just too obnoxious. It's really the only movie that foresaw the power of being annoying. Till next time, adios.